If you're not an open-minded person, this video is not for you. If you hate NFTs, this probably isn't for you either. And for those of you with a massive bag of NFTs, well, you are the target audience. So let's talk about an NFT bull run thesis. And I'm talking from my little perspective of this, and I love sharing it. So I encourage you to comment below if you have any thoughts throughout this video, and let me know your conclusions or thoughts about the market overall as well. So let's start with the basics about when I entered the space, and it happened to be right before the bull run started in January of 2021. NBA Top Shot. All right, so going back to January 2021. Now, Top Shot kind of went viral in that month of January, but in February, it really went to another level. If you weren't around back then, we had the likes of Pat McAfee talking about this. There was NBA broadcasters that were referencing Top Shot moments like Top Shot that. Digital collectibles kind of being somewhat of a new thing at the time. We saw some crazy things happening, and the biggest thing that got a lot of people up off the sidelines that were hearing about this was the fact that $40 million worth of sales volume was happening just in that January month alone. $224 million of sales volume happened in February of 2021. Now, one of the key factors to Top Shot's growth at the time was the fact that it was pretty easy to onboard. Anything to do with NFTs or crypto, you typically had to figure out how to install a wallet, do the seed phrase, sign up for an exchange, get comfortable with that, and then trading around assets. And again, for the average person, it really wasn't too difficult to understand, but you know, when the option of just email and passwords there, it's definitely going to help the situation, and that's what happened for Top Shot. So the key takeaways from Top Shot at the time was onboarding was easy. It really wasn't super expensive to mint at the time. You could get packs for $50, sometimes even less. And the fact that they went viral was also a huge part, and it depends on how you look at it, because if you say, okay, in January it was like reaching virality, but in February it went viral. It was kind of about a 4x or more from January to February. So does that mean if something goes viral, you have 4x the interest? I feel like typically that doesn't work. Like, you know, when something goes viral, the interest is, 50 to 100 times, so 1,000 times more. So a 4x between the two. We'll just say that Top Shot went viral in January. And then comes Bored Ape Yacht Club. Coming off the hype of Top Shot in February of 2021, we saw the market kind of come down a little bit, but a lot of people did have a lot of extra kind of spending money within the blockchain space. A lot of people didn't have to deal with exchanges in a way because they were able to withdraw to their crypto wallets directly from Top Shot. And so at the end of April 2021, Bored Ape Yacht Club ended up minting out. And if you're wanting to relive that mint experience, I do have a video uploaded of me minting way back when. And boy, oh boy, I had no idea it was going to be the success it was. Twitter was a hub for a lot of the community to engage with way back when. And I know a lot of people have different thoughts about NFTs, people using avatars, whatever at the time. But back then, the Web3 community was relatively small, and the one thing that we saw happen pretty quickly with Bored Ape Yacht Club was that everybody started putting them as their avatars, and it was a way to kind of connect with other people within the space, because if you were just certain collections or Web3 topics, you saw somebody with a profile of the same collection that you owned, you were like, oh, let me follow that. And so that's one of the reasons why a lot of people that were having Bored Ape profiles way back when typically have 5,000 to 10,000 followers. Was at the time, it was ape follow ape. So basically a lot of people felt really connected with this. At the time, we only knew that there was supposed to be something of being able to use mutants with a friend and YouTube station, and they were, I think, going to do merch, and it was $250. So even in that video, I was like, this is a lot. I don't know if I should do it. Right away, they ended up selling on the secondary market for higher than the mint price, and it just kind of grew really, really quickly from there. So for Bored Ape Yacht Club, the key takeaways was the fact that community matters. FOMO elevated it to new heights because everybody saw everyone else rocking these avatars and thought, okay, this seems like a movement. And I think people seeing the virality that happened with Top Shot was also one of those additional boosters for that FOMO. Now, following the success of Bored Ape Yacht Club, obviously we had Top Shot, Bored Ape Yacht Club. You can look back and we had Cool Cats, Gutter Cats, whole bunch of other ones. All the collections really started kind of going crazy because there was a lot of people with only X amount of collections out at the time. Now skip ahead from that time in 2021 to 2023, and anybody that bought an NFT in the past year probably completely regrets it. And then on top of that, you have all the people that really hate NFTs being able to say, ha, we were right, this is stupid. And there's also the chance that friends that you potentially brought into the space aren't your friends anymore, don't like you, regret that you even mentioned anything about the blockchain space to them. So why would now be the start of an NFT bull run after all that garbage that I just said? So number one, the collections that minted way back when and additionally raised $50 to $100 million plus are getting very close to launching their full product. Anyone currently holding NFTs from the big 10,000 collections in 2021 are almost all talking amongst each other, questioning if anything's going to happen. What the hell did these collections do with the mint funds? On top of raising several $1 million on top of it, up to the tune again of 100 million. And why have we only gotten art, trailers, basic animations? Where is the substance? And the common factor between all of them is that it's all of them. We could go down the list and look at some of these big collections. From Cool Cats, Clone X, Doodles, Fluff World, Gutter Cats, Pixel Vault, Moonbirds, V-Friends, Bored Apes even, and Azuki. Yes, certain collections are valued higher than others currently, but I think that we could kind of be on the same page and say that the main products for most of these haven't launched yet, or a portion of what they're launching as kind of their main product has, right? So V-Friends, there's been V-Cons for Bored Apes. It was never on their initial roadmap, but the Ape Fest and whatnot, there's been several of them. And of course, yes, the airdrops have happened, and we've seen huge moves, like the fact that Nike bought Artifact, but it seems like they're all building at roughly the same pace, and we've not seen any kind of massive releases that have really shaken up the space. So that's why my point number one for this bull run thesis is that all the major collections haven't launched their full product, but they're about to. Number two, we just saw the first massive sale of an NFT collection in a hot minute. If you haven't seen or you're watching this in the future, Azuki just launched their third collection called Elementals, and it was a 2 ETH Dutch auction, pretty much sold out instantly. A lot of people were complaining about how the mint mechanics worked, but the point is they were able to raise a pretty substantial amount of money from dropping further NFTs. If you look at secondary markets of NFTs, many are completely stagnant, or if there is sales volume, like 80% of it is people farming blur points for the NFT marketplace token airdrop. And yes, I know there are companies that are in the blockchain space need to come up with more revenue models for sustainability that aren't just selling more NFTs, but the fact that this collection was able to raise so much money in what we're calling a bear market is pretty insane. And yes, also I agree for the people that are saying, hey, if it's a quality product, it's worth getting into. People will pay the premium, yada, yada, yada. But either way, this is kind of a sign that I think collections are getting more comfortable with saying, hey, all right, we kind of haven't done any raises in a little bit. Let's get into that. So number three, the crypto narrative is changing. We just recently heard that the United States SEC approved a Bitcoin futures ETF. And the Bitcoin chart is starting to really trend upwards. And here's kind of a freaky thing that you might say, maybe this guy is right. So going back to January 2021, when NBA Top Shot took off, Bitcoin was trending upwards violently, trading at $30,000 and eventually went up to about $60,000 in just a few months. At the beginning of this year, Bitcoin was trading at $17,000, and now it's back at that $30,000 mark like it was back in January of 2021. And then on top of that, you have the Bitcoin halving narrative coming into play that I'm sure if you watch any kind of crypto content, everybody's talking about it. So number four, every major company is creating a Web3 strategy, a metaverse strategy, and they're getting into the space. Nike and Adidas were some of the first movers. We've seen Gucci, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, and they see the opportunity here, and they're allocating resources to growing in the metaverse and Web3 in general. Digital identity, digital fashion, games where you own the assets. It's happening fast. And the final thing, you've probably heard this one a lot, but I don't know if you've seen the numbers attached to it. There's 420 million global crypto users with a population of almost 8 billion in the world. In a report from security.org, they reported that there's an estimated 9.3 million people who own NFTs. So if there's 420 million crypto owners and only 9.3 million who own NFTs, that's less than 3% of the entire crypto market. And I think one of the biggest reasons people haven't gotten into it is because they see, hey, where's the utility? What's the purpose? I want something more than community. And we've seen these collections work over the past 2 years, sometimes kind of secretly, sometimes a little bit more in public, but it seems like that's coming to an end and we're going to see the fruits of their labor. So let me know what you think of this video. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments, and think about subscribing if you enjoy this content. We got a lot of Futureverse stuff coming up, and we're going to be streaming again on Twitch very shortly at twitch.tv/Vaughn_Schiller. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one. Peace.